officially.
Tape is rolling. Stand by.
I want the most powerful 3 minutes I can get out of the top of the show.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2.
Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. You know, boy, do I have a show for you today. And the show's topic is about serial killers. What made you go after Wayne?
What made me go after him was studying him on the internet, realizing that, okay, there's a lot of serial killers that are completely crazy. I would be afraid to meet certain ones. But this one obviously turned himself in from remorse.
Wayne Adam Ford, another serial killer, confessed to 4 brutal murders. He talked about what led him to kill. Take a look at this.
I began a series of killings in 1997 and 98. During this time, I killed 4 women. I blacked out during the killings, but I knew that I was responsible. I had cut up one body, burying some of the remains and putting some of the remains in their freezer. I was not in my right mind. The remorse and guilt I felt was crushing. The police investigations of all 4 killings had turned up no leads. When I checked into room 0, I thought it was very eerie that there was a room 0. I'd never seen a room 0 before. It seemed kind of ominous and foreboding. On November the 3rd, 1998, I walked into the sheriff's department after deciding that I was too dangerous to be out in society, even if I was out in the woods. I had realized at this point that I was losing it for short periods of time. I was afraid this was going to happen on a permanent basis, and that I would be just a roving monster. I had with me a severed human breast in my pocket in a baggie. This, I thought, would be enough to prevent me from having to say anything to the police, and that I could say it through an attorney. Since then, things have gone pretty much as expected. That is until I had a very interesting meeting with a unique girl.
What's crazy is one part that it didn't say in there is that he walked into the police station and placed a woman's severed breast on the police desk. You get what I'm saying? All right, well, that was a piece of a documentary. It's called Room 0 from filmmaker Victoria Redstall. Please welcome her to the show. You know, interesting, but I got to go back to why. That's the question. Why did you even begin doing this documentary about the serial killer?
Well, I wanted to do something other than just modeling and hosting and acting.
I know, but I could find a lot of other things to do than go chase serial killers if I was a model or actress. So why? What was the thing that drove you?
What made me go after him was studying him on the internet, realizing that, okay, there's a lot of serial killers that are completely crazy. I would be afraid to meet certain ones. But this one obviously turned himself in from remorse. I've never, in all my studies, ever learned or known a serial killer, I don't know, maybe you have, that's ever turned himself in.
We've got to take a little break. We'll be back right after this. How do you go about, when you call a serial killer and phone and say, yo, what's up?
No.
I just want to come in and talk to you. How did you even get the meeting with him to begin with?
Well, I must say I was determined to meet this man, and I did orchestrate a scheme to get in the San Bernardino County Jail. And I knew through my LA County Sheriff's deputies, I knew this deputy, which I will remain nameless, he's already got in a lot of trouble. I knew if I went in on a Sunday, the lieutenants aren't usually around. Monday through Friday they work, 9 to 5. I thought if I go in on a Sunday, then the ADSEG unit, administrative segregated inmates, that's when nobody could go, and maybe not even you, Montel. You couldn't get to Unit 11 in the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department because it is off limits. Okay? Each jail has that all over California. And I thought, well, once I tell this deputy I want a tour of the jail and maybe we could meet Wayne Adam Ford, he said, well, I don't know. I mean, that's Unit 11. I said, okay, well, we'll see. So what day do I want to go? I knew I wanted to go on a Sunday when lieutenants aren't around.
Gotcha.
And I was afraid. Don't think, you know, I'd read about the breast in the pocket. The part that I obviously wanted to make a story about was him turning himself in, and there was a victim that has still not been found. So I had these ideas to say to him. I got ready. I wore no makeup. This man did not even know I had blonde hair. My hair was in a cap. I had an oversized jacket up to here because, you know, I'm not big, but I don't want anyone to know that I have any bosoms, especially if you cut them off.
Especially if you got chopping. No kidding.
I mean, guys, I want to get it straight. I went in as plain as I could, and in my terms, I looked like a boy. And oh, sorry, he was pulled out of he'd just woken up. And that was highly off limits because he came to those bars, and you never speak to an inmate coming to the bars. It's got to be behind plexiglass so the line can be recorded. So nothing was recorded. The whole sheriff's department was put under investigation. I ended up on the stand in his trial. My name was exposed. What I looked like was exposed. And then the media wanted to make me some kind of a media fiasco all over the world. And they called me a groupie, all because I was trying to make a movie to show the world a story of how an innocent child can become a monster and then somehow have enough remorse to turn himself in. And that's all I was trying to do. And
it's now done. The documentary is finished. But you still have a relationship with this guy.
I promised him one promise. He kept saying to me all the way through, you know, my defense thinks you're with the prosecution, and then they tell me not to trust you, and they tell me to stay away from you because you're just using me to get a story and that's it. He said, but I feel that you're not going to do that. Now, you don't have to talk to me ever again, but if I ask you one thing, just visit me once in a while when I'm on death row. And you know what? There's a human side to him. And I've made that promise, and I have visited him. Since he's been on death row, he's been there 6 months.
And he is on death row now.
Yes.
They don't have a date for him yet, do they?
This is California. You know, there's a lot of appeals process.
25 years from now, he could be put to death. Would you go?
I would.
Because he'll probably ask you to.
He probably wouldn't.
I take a little break. When we come back, we'll find out what really drives a person like this to kill. We'll be back right after this. You know, I come back to the same question, though, that I asked you. It seems like I've done, 16 years I've been doing the show. I've done no less than 50 shows on serial killers. And if I stay on for another 16 years, I'll do another 50 shows on serial killers. And the one thing that always seems to stand out in my mind is that somebody caught him. Somebody knew. The cops had him. The cops had him in their hands. They went by and investigated him. And I do not understand how this case happens. I don't care if you can give me all the mumbo jumbo about why mistakes were made. Somebody took the police to the house of the killer. They didn't even bother going inside. And how many lives would have been saved had they stopped Gary before you even met him? But they didn't. And the number of stories like this that I hear is the reason why we have serial killers. Because for some reason, depending on what community you live in, sometimes people don't listen. I really would hope that they send copies of your movie and your television series to the police every day. Just let them start reading it, because if there's 20 of them operating out there, I don't want one of my family members to become the next victim. I really don't. And right now I feel helpless because there seems to be nothing we can do because cops don't seem to be paying attention. What do we have to do to make them pay attention to this?
I don't know that it's fair to say they don't pay attention. I think you have to give some credit, if that's the right word, to the cleverness of some of these serial killers. It's real hard sometimes, to catch them, try as the police will.
All right. Well, I'm out of time. If you want more information about today's show, you can, or you want to share your own story, you can come up on our website, which is www.montelshow.com. And we will do another show on this. I'm going to do this again and again to see if I can start making people aware of what's going on in that community around you. And if you want to know what's coming up on tomorrow's show, take a look at this.